when to promote, how often to promote, and the fact that you actually need to promote, let's move on into the next step where you're actually going to be putting the content in and what are you going to write about. Most people struggle with promotion because they feel like it's just one thing. They feel like I'm selling to you and it feels icky, right? I am not somebody who feels comfortable with selling. So if I had to go up to and sell something to someone, I would feel very, very uncomfortable. And if you don't get a lot of engagement when you are trying to sell to someone, you feel even more icky, right? So if you make a post, right, and you're selling something and people don't respond to it at all, now you feel even worse. So it's bad enough that you felt like you were selling an icky car salesman. Now nobody even wants it. So it's almost like it validates your thought that you're icky, right? It validates your thought that you're icky. Let's first start by saying that promotion is not just about saying when something is happening, where, or how to get there, okay? Because a lot of times when we talk about promotion, you're thinking, I need to just tell people what's happening, where to go, and how to get there. And because that's what we think, all right, I'm going to have to do 7 days where I'm just making posts telling people where to go and how to get there. And that seems a little monotonous, a little boring, and a little bit like you wouldn't want to see that in your feed. And nobody would, right? So it makes us hesitant to actually do it because we think of promotion as I am telling you what to do, when to do it, and where to go, okay? Promotion is also about creating a desire for the product that you offer and also the activity that's happening, okay? So in addition to telling people when, where, and what, you're also telling them why they want to come and what's so fun about it, right? What is it? We talked about that in the last video. So when you think about promotional posting, the most important thing to keep in mind is that once again, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to stick with the same 5 types of posts that we had before, which is these 5 types of posts. You can spin them so that they are acting as promotional activities for your live event. So we're not going to go with anything new. Again, we're going with, did we just become best friends? I know what I'm talking about. Your conversation starters, your low stakes post, and your buy from me posts. Okay, so those are the 5 ones we're working with. Same old, same old. We're just going to spin them a little bit differently. Okay. Now, you don't need to worry too much about conversation starters and low stakes posts because those are just going to be the thing that you do out of hand anyway. And usually it's not something that you can provide a lot of intention with, but I wanted to keep those in there because in the event that you think of something that you're like, oh yeah, that's a cool low stakes post for promotion, go ahead and do it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just one of those things where it will come to you or it won't, but you're not gonna be able to spend a whole lot of time thinking about it just because it's low stakes or it's a conversation starter. The ones that you're gonna have way more luck with and they're just gonna be easier to do will be the ones that are very intentional. Did we just become best friends? And I know what I'm talking about. And then the buy from me posts, because once you separate the promotional posts into these buckets, it gets a lot easier to promote because the buy from me posts are now their single types of posts doing their own thing. And when you're actually making those posts, you feel very comfortable doing it. The other thing to consider is that the type of promotion that you do with these posts is also going to depend on what type of live event you actually have. So far I've been sort of vacillating between we're talking about a sales event or we're talking about a non-sales event, but I want to actually pause and say that you may do some live events that are not for selling. So you may have some live events that are merely for entertainment purposes only, or you may have some live events that are for selling. They can be at any length. You may do an entertainment live that's an hour long. You may do an entertainment live that's half an hour long. You may do a live sales event that's 20 minutes long. You may do a live sales event that's 8 hours long. You can have a variety of lengths and a variety of promotional activities that go with each. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some examples of what types of live events you may do, and then give you suggestions about what kinds of promotional posts you might use to promote that kind of thing. Okay. So to start, you're going to have, we know that you're going to have sales events, but let's start. So we're going to start with a different one. We'll start with the Did We Just Become Best Friends live. This is the live or the video where you're basically doing something that is to build a relationship with your audience. It could be playing an online game like Jackbox. It could be doing an episode review of your favorite show. You could do telling a story. Somebody I know used to do episode reviews of, oh my gosh, it was a sci-fi show. She loved it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but she used to do sci-fi show reviews and it was fabulous. So let's say, for example, I was going to do a sci-fi show review. I watched Discovery. Let's say I was going to do a Discovery review in the group every Friday, because it comes out on Thursday. So I watch it on Thursday and then I would do a video for like, say 10 minutes giving my thoughts on Discovery, right? So I might make a video where I do that. So what I would do prior to that, so now that I'm promoted, so this becomes a routine event where I'm reviewing Discovery every week, right? So on Thursdays, Discovery comes out. Okay. So I might go and get the sneak peek preview for Discovery, put that in the group and say, I'm going to be watching this tonight. I'm so excited. I may grab something from last week's episode, a cliffhanger, and make a post and say, oh my God, Tilly took the job at Starfleet. Does this mean we're never going to see her again? What do you think? Right? And ask my audience to jump in with me. Now, I'm assuming at this point, I'm talking about this and my audience is really into Discovery. So my audience is going to come back and say, oh my God, Tilly left. I don't know. Is she going to stay? Are they going to start a new show? And now a conversation has emerged about the episode review that I'm going to do tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to do this review tomorrow, but the conversation is happening today. Okay. So that's sort of how this works. I'm starting a conversation today about tomorrow. So the people who are engaging with me today about this question about Tilly, they're going to show up to tomorrow's live to see what happened and what do I think about what happened, right? That is how you can create a promotional event that is related to what you're doing the next day without actually having to do the thing. Okay. You could tell a story. A live where you tell a story is great. That's usually really fabulous if you're in a moment where something has inspired you to tell a story. So you had a learning lesson or you had an epiphany or an aha moment or in response to a local event. So for me, growing up in Pakistan, I have a lot of stories that I tell in response to certain triggering events that are happening now. And so I'll usually do a live or a video where I talk about that a little bit just because it helps me to process and it also helps my audience to process as well. They enjoy seeing how I process things, right? So if let's say I was going to do a live where I'm talking about running a business with chronic mental illness, I would do a live before that where I would talk about how some days I have I wake up and I just can't get out of bed and I'm just really, really tired and I'm fatigued and I can't do anything. And I used to feel really, really bad about it, but I don't anymore. And then talk about some of my techniques and how I cope with it. And then say, tomorrow, I'm going to talk a lot more about running a business with chronic illness, or next week, I'm going to talk more about running a business with chronic illness. Other things I could do would be top 10 myths about running a business with chronic illness. 3 things you can do today to make it easier to run your business with chronic illness. I could provide, funny memes, there's so many funny memes out there about, spoons and chronic illness, which would make people laugh. Or I could ask people and be like, oh my God, I'm so tired today. Tell me, share with me your favorite chronically ill meme, right? And now that gets people talking about the conversation. It creates a conversation about what I'm going to be doing later. Now, these things can be spread out over time. You can use GIFs, memes, videos, but the key thing to keep in mind is that you're using the event that you're doing as the trigger to come up with what all of the content prior is going to be. You can paint, craft, garden. You can clean out your garage. One of my favorite streamers, he was moving into a new house. And so he was like, so he didn't have time to create new content. So he said, you know what? I'm just going to set up the camera in my garage and just empty out my garage. And so he basically set up his camera in his garage and cleaned out his whole garage. And while we were live, and he'd show us stuff and talk about it. And it was just great to hang out with him and learn those things. And it was super fun. So don't underestimate the value of simply hanging out with you. Your audience would like to do that as well. Okay. You could also ask for some advice. You can make a post. Now, one of the things I want to touch on is that all of the promotional activities that I just talked about, most of them were all video or live. They don't have to be. Your promotional events can be GIFs, they can be memes, they can be images, they can be a poll, they can be whatever you want. I just chose that as my example. And in the worksheet that you downloaded in the previous video, there's more detail in there about how you can do it, what you can do, and so on. But I just wanted to let you know that I was just giving you examples of video, but they don't have to be video. Your promotional activities can be any media that you want. Your event itself is the thing that's going to be live or video. The other types of videos that you may do, the other types of live events you may do are the ones where you're talking about, I know what I'm talking about, right? So where you are talking about something that's relevant in your industry, where you're doing a live Q&A, you're doing myth busting. So you may go live and say, listen, I'm going to do a live Q&A, about wearing makeup for oily skin, right? And you just may answer questions about that. Totally fine. Share some news about your niche. Oh my gosh, did you hear that there's this brand new lipstick that, just comes right off if you wanted to, but stays on all day otherwise, right? Oh my God, let me tell you all about it. Sharing news about stuff that happens in your industry is great because it builds credibility because people are like, you're in the know about what's happening in the industry that you're in. So it is very critical as a business owner that you have your finger on the pulse of whatever area that you are in. If you are a Facebook coach, then you need to be following Facebook experts who know more than you do, who are in, like Mari Smith and Matt Navarra. I follow a lot of people who know a lot more than I do, who I keep informed from, and then I take it to my audience. You need to be in touch with whatever publications or experts exist in your industry. Find them, follow them. If you're not sure who they are, this is another really great way to use the squad. Ask questions on the wall and see if other people follow people that you may find value in. One of the things that I have found to be very, very valuable is simply by starting to follow a few different people. Other things show up in my feed, and then I forward those along to my friends who I think are interested in that. And that way they get to follow more people that they like to as well. So don't hesitate to forward these along to people that you think would be interested in that topic. If you're a boutique owner and you find an amazing boutique influencer that you follow, post that in the squad. Send that along to other people that you know run boutiques, because this will help them as well. Answer a frequently asked question. The Angry Therapist on Instagram does this really, really well. I recommend you follow him. He's also super hot. If you follow him, he does these great videos where he'll just answer a question, and he does it so well that actually I'm going to start doing it now with my business as well, because I really like the way that he does it, and it's a really great way of building credibility. Or you can interview someone else in your niche, get another boutique owner in and have a little conversation about anything, right? Anything. And what's bonus about that is that both of you get to use that live content, right? So let's say you're going live to sell tomorrow, she's going live to sell next week. Both of you get together today and go live talking about florals in the spring. Have a great conversation. You stream it to both of your pages, and now suddenly you guys are sharing followers, sharing engagement, sharing relationships, and building interest, because people really like to see that kind of conversation happening. Okay. So those are the other types of lives that you can do. Then of course you have your buy from me events. Now this is where I want to stress for you that when you are making posts, so if you're going to be doing a live selling event and you are going to have some promotional posts that will be sales, the promoting doesn't just mean that you're just telling people about it. So let's say, for example, you're selling all dresses at your event next Friday. Well, then in that case, you can this Friday sell other dresses, right? Be like, okay, we're selling all of our spring dresses next week. Here's a sneak peek. I'm going to let you in for 1 hour, right? Or I'm going to let you in to see shoes that might go with those dresses, or accessories, or things like that, right? You could do a how-to tutorial. So let's say you might go live where you're trying to sell lipstick, right? You're selling lipstick, and so you might do an influencer tutorial where you're showing people how to put on lipstick, how to choose their lipstick color, how to wear it, how to take it off, things like that, right? How-tos are great. They do really, really well and have a lot of repurposability long after the event is over. You could do the best, the worst. Those are always great, where you're like, try something that you hate. Try something that you know you're going to hate. That's even better, right? Try something, but they don't know that you know you're going to hate it, right? So you're like, you tried it, you're like, you don't like it, try it, right? Be like, what do you think? Try something that you think you're going to love. But trying products out and being authentic about your response, fabulous. People love, love, love that. And then for that, what's great is, so let's say you were going to do a live event where you are doing a how-to tutorial or a best and worst. What's really great about this is the promotional content that you use for this can be older videos for the same type of event. So like, for example, let's say you did a how-to tutorial on how to wear lipstick. You could pull your how-to tutorial from 2 weeks ago, pull out little snippets, 30 seconds here, a minute here, and use that video as promotional content for this coming video, saying, look at all the things we learned last week about putting on blush. Or get somebody's comment, screenshot their comment, put it this week and say, Jackie is wearing lipstick for the first time in 10 years because she finally feels confident wearing lipstick. What will you try after watching one of my videos, right? And now you're basically showing them the value that they're going to get from watching your video. All of those things count as promotion, because all they're really doing is saying, I have helped people. I can help people. I'm entertaining, or whatever. I can help you. I can entertain you. This is where you want to be entertained. But you don't do it by telling someone, I'm going to entertain you, right? The way that you do it is by first doing the thing, proving to them that you can do it, right? And then they're like, oh yeah, she can do this. Now they're going to believe that you can do it again. But they're not going to believe you can do it simply by you saying, hey, I'm going live. So when you are marketing, and this is the most important piece of information that you can take away today, keep in mind that you don't have to do anything to get your diehards to show up. They're going to show up because you exist and because you're there. Right now, that's who you're marketing to. You're worried about losing those people by moving out into this space and broadening your horizons and using different language and marketing in different ways. Don't worry, you're going to keep those people, but you'll also get more people. So letting go, right? And marketing more towards the strangers by using this kind of content is what's going to actually get more and more people moving down your user journey and your funnel that gets them from point A to buying, as opposed to losing them along the way because you're either moving too quickly or you are simply stating you sell things versus creating a desire for something. Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, because I will be honest, this is a lot of content that we went through. And the reason why it's a lot of content is because this is one of the more challenging spaces, is getting people from, is getting the event, finding your customers, and then the promotion, because you're really creating a trail there, like taffy. You're trying to create this long trail that doesn't break, but that people can get across, right? That's what you're really trying to do. So, but don't feel like you have to do all of these things that we just listed, right? I listed a lot of things because there are a lot of options, but you do not have to do all of them. That's way too much. It's too much for me. It's too much for you. It's too much for anyone who doesn't. I have a team of people and it's still too much for me. So pull back a little bit. It will also confuse your audience because you're doing all the things, right? What I would recommend is pick this one type of live event that you want to do. Okay. So for me, I picked the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself event. So the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself is a podcast. I go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. It demonstrates my expertise and it also lets me get to know my audience a little bit better, right? So it does both of those things at once. And then I promote that event. That's it. So of all of the things that we just went through, all the options, all of the stuff, I picked Stop Shitting All Over Yourself. Now, I have gone through several others over time. I've trialed and errored and trialed and errored and trialed and errored and been like, oh, I really like doing this live. Nope, don't like this. Oh, I really like doing this live. Nope, don't like this. That is okay. Do not fall in love with your creations. It's great to try something out. It's even better to be able to discard it quickly when you realize you don't like it, it's not for you, and move on to the next thing. The faster you're willing to let go and move on to the next thing, the faster you're going to find that right thing for you. The first frog you kiss will not be your prince. You have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince or princess. Okay. All right. So the last thing that I want to share with you about how you do all of this promotion, okay, is that you're going to pick your event. You're going to decide what event it is that you want to do. You're going to come up with your topic, your idea, what you're going to talk about, so on and so forth. So you're getting all this stuff written down, okay? And you're going to workshop this in the squad if you need help. When you're actually doing the promotional posts that are on page 2 of the worksheet that is attached, you can post these in addition to your regular posts. You're going to have your 3 to 5 regular posts, and then these are going to become posts that are in addition to that. Sometimes you might be like, you know what, this one is a good replacement. It's fine. But for the most part, it's going to be an addition. So you'll have your 3 to 5 posts, and then you'll also have your promotional posts. So now you can see that you're adding on, right? So now we're looking at 10 posts? So now you've got 10 posts a week. So you've got more than enough social media posts to last you forever. So don't worry too much about that. The key thing to keep in mind is that this system that I am training you on, like each step that I'm giving you, it's based off of how the algorithm actually works and how we psychologically interact with content. Okay. So this is designed around the algorithm and it's designed around how we engage with content. You don't need to think about the algorithm if you're following these steps, the algorithm will be taken care of on its own. It's kind of like if you're eating healthy and you're a generally healthy person, like I'm chronically ill, so I can't really say that. But if you eat healthy, then your body will have healthy responses as opposed to if you're eating sugar all the time, right? So that's something important to keep in mind. Your groups will not be impacted if you post more than the 3 to 5 a week that we mentioned before. So don't worry, your groups are not, if you post 100 times in your group, that's not going to impact it. The thing that actually impacts your group reach is totally different in terms, it's more about the engagement with your posts in relationship to the number of posts, not just the number of posts. And what we're doing right now is building something, so we're not concerned. So it's not going to hurt your group engagement, not going to hurt your group algorithm. You're good. You can post more in there. On your business page, it also will not be overtly impacted by making more posts than what I am suggesting. Okay, so don't worry. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because we are programmed, or we've programmed ourselves to be worried about the algorithm every time we turn around. You don't need to worry about the algorithm. Simply follow the steps. The algorithm will follow on its own. And in fact, I really want you to stop thinking about the algorithm altogether, because the whole point of this, the roadmap to success and these things that we're doing in here, is to inoculate you against the algorithm and have it just do your system, do all the things you need it to do. And the algorithm is no longer relevant to your life. Okay, that's super important. You don't have too much time to create all of the content, okay? So if you find that having the 3 to 5 and adding these posts is too much in terms of what your life allows you to do because of your framework, then what I would recommend is replace some of the routine posts with some of your routine posts with the promotional posts, right? So generally speaking, you can easily put your regular posts and then put the additional promotional posts, no problem. But if you are overwhelmed, too much work, it's not a good week for you, whatever, you can replace the routine post with your promotional post, because you're usually going to have 5 or 6 of those, and you can just replace it, and then you're only really doing the one thing, and it buys you time. Okay, so that's totally okay to do if you need to save time, but I wouldn't do it as a matter of routine. Your next step now is to do the homework attached to that worksheet. So this is going to be super critical, so I want you to spend a lot of time on that. Head over to the worksheet, start filling it out, and share that on the squad wall so we can help you workshop your very first super awesome live from stage 3.